you know, needed some rod holders and all of that. So what I like to do is I like to have me one up here on the bow also. Okay, I've got a couple back there, that keeps them out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. So I like to keep one up here on the bow. And for those, like I said, you know, the Scotty mounts, the Ram type mounts. This one here, there's a Ram ball here, made by Ram mounts. This one is made by a company called Mbkfa, and it's called a Zuka tube. And it's a little bit different than anything you can get from Ram or Scotty. What's cool about this one is it's multifunctional. You can take your spinning reel and you can slide it in here and twist it, and it'll lock it in place, so it ain't going nowhere. You can take this tube right here, undo this little thing, flip the tube around, and you got a trigger stick, and it'll fit right in there. Locks it right in place, it ain't going anywhere. So I like to have it up here on the bow. And the cool thing about these Ram type mounts, you notice they got this little Ram ball on it that mounts it up. You know, if you got this thing back here and you think it's in the way, I like to fish off the left-hand side of my kayak. That's the way I'm set up. I fish right to left. You got this puppy up here and you think it's in the way and you got it on one of these Ram type mounts, as long as you don't cinch that joker down real tight, all you gotta do is knock it out of the way. It's out of the way. Just as simple. If you need it, you got your big trophy fish and you need something to do with your rod, you pull that back in place, stick your rod in there, take care of your fish, grab your picture, and be on your way. Now the cool thing about this one right here is it creates an anchor point on the side of your kayak if you go with something like a stakeout pole. I'll be there. What it does is you can kick it off to the side like so, and now you've got you a handy dandy anchor point on the side of your kayak. Right up there. If you stand up, doing some stand-up fishing, and you're poling along, and we'll talk about the stakeout pole here in a minute, but you're poling along and you get up to a spot and you need to stop, put that stakeout pole right there. Some folks will take their stakeout pole and stick it through a scupper hole. This kayak has scuppers in it. That's a big no-no. You don't want to do anything like that, and the reason why is if you're out there fishing and you know, it's a little rough or something like that, or the water's running pretty good, what's going to happen is you're going to create some tension inside this scupper hole. Scupper holes are the weakest part of a kayak. People think they're the strongest because they're in between plastic, but they're not. That's what makes them the weakest part of the kayak. So I don't suggest doing that. We got a lot of guys in the club that'll do that. I wouldn't, you know. So what you need is you need a place to stick your stakeout pole if you got some anchor points. Hey, come on in here. Man, you can't take them anywhere. That's the problem. A bunch of drunk pedestrians. Notice I waited until they left before I sat there, right? They both have beers in the hand. All right. So we're going to talk about fish finders. Man, everybody gets a kayak. Oh man, let me stick the fish finder on this puppy somewhere. What do I do? How do I do that? Well, man, there are tons of options out there with fish finders. Okay. This is what I use forever. Okay, I've been using this for a long time. As a matter of fact, this unit right here. Been using this for a while. So, well, what do you do with the transducer? Okay, well, you can do lots of things with a transducer. You can drop it over the side of the kayak, something you come up with. You can stick it through a scupper hole. There are kayak manufacturers out there that manufacture their scupper holes just to fit transducers. You can, one of the most popular ways of doing it is doing a through hole, just like you do on a boat. And installing the transducer through hole is no different than installing a through hole on a boat. What you do is you find the flattest spot that you can find inside the hole. This is what you know you can't see it, but I'm going to open it up so I can look at it and talk about it. You find the flattest spot you can find on the boat, and then to attach the transducer to it, you need an adhesive. Some guys, like my buddy here, Josh, he uses duct seal. It's something you get at the hardware store. You can put it in place, you work your transducer down in it, work any air bubbles out of it. And if you decide you want to put it on something else, you pull it right back out of that duct seal and use it on something else. I just permanently mount mine. I use, for this particular one, I use Lexel. It's just a type of silicone. What you have to do with that, when you're putting the bed of that down so you can put your transducer in it, you have to make sure that you don't get any air bubbles when you lay that little bed of stuff down. So you put it on there, you be careful not to get any air bubbles in it, and you take your transducer and you push it down in it, and you work it down in it, make sure you don't have any air bubbles. That's it. You're installed, it's done. As far as what do you do with the transducer wire, well, you can come through, if you've got a hatch, you can bring it out through the hatch. You can do like I did. I bored a little hole up here, made me a little wire channel. Put the transducer wire through that, and that's one way to do it. As far as as far as power, I got a Rubbermaid box that I picked up from Walmart for about $5. And made me a battery box. It'll hold a 7-amp battery. This one here, that's plenty for fish finding. If you're worried about getting too much weight, on your kayak, and like, man, 7-amp battery is just kind of heavy. You want to use something smaller. Fish finders like this, I call them the old El Cheapos. You go buy them for $100 or whatever. Most fish finders like this will work off of 8 AA batteries. Now, they won't work off the 8 AA rechargeable batteries, but they'll work off of 8 AA batteries. What you have to do is you go to somewhere like Radio Shack, and you buy you an 8 AA battery holder. And it'll have 2 little snaps on the end of it, or 2 little wire points on the end of it. The end of your wire for your that thing, for your fish finder, you just run to those points, and that's all you need to do. Those batteries will last you 2 to 3 trips, fishing. So, and it'll save you a little weight. But if you're like me, you don't like spending money on AA batteries, you go out and spend $20 on a deer feeder battery, and it'll power that thing for a month or longer before you have to recharge it. Then you get to recharge it. You want to get creative with your connections, you can go to the store and get you something like that right there. A little 2-prong connection. Got to pick those up at West Marine. I might even have some of them over at the boat shop over in the ferry home. If y'all never been to the ferry home boat come to do yourself a favor, make sure to get over there. So make you throw rocks at all these other places, I promise you. Alright, fish finder. What I've done is I've left enough room on the wires up here on the bow that I can stick the fish finder over here on the side, which is where I like it. If the water is real rough and I'm concerned if I've got a $500 fish finder over here on the side, I don't want to get it all beat up with water, but I still want to use it. I've left enough room on these wires that I can just move it over here to the center of the kayak and it's out of the way. So when you put your wires in, like I said, you leave yourself enough room. That way you can move the thing around a little bit if you want to. It doesn't hurt to have a little extra wire there. So that's installing a fish finder like that. Well, I got one other fish finder. It's something I just got and just put together, and I really like it. If you do like me and you install your transducer in your kayak where it's not going to go anywhere, well then you just kind of stuck with it. So to use your fish finder on another kayak or boat or anything like that, you got to buy another transducer. Well, this right here solves that problem. This is made by a company called Mbkfa, and what it is this box right here. You get this box and it holds your battery, and it's got this. Comes with the little T-bolts on the bottom of it to mount into the gear track, and what you do is you get your fish finder and you mount it on top of the thing. Bought another piece of the gear track and stuck it up top, so that way I'm still keeping everything optional. I like to keep everything optional. Got it stuck up there, and got the fish finder mounted to it. And I bought me one of these. This is a ram transducer arm. So got it stuck up there. Put this puppy on the side of the kayak. All right, so where? This is easier in the how-to video. Slide forward. All right. So we got that in there. All you have to do is make it work. Keep the transducer on over the side. You want it as parallel with the water as you can get it. The cool thing about this rig right here is as long as I got gear track on my kayaks, I can pull it off this and then go take it to another kayak and stick it on with another one, my buddies, whatever. Also, you want to use this rig on your boat, it ain't a problem. You got it. All you have to do is take your box up here, go stick it on the dash, just pull your transducer arm off. You got you one of those little ram balls on the back on the stern of your boat. You go back there and you stick that on, and you're good to go. What I've done with my wire here is I've just used these little wire clamps and clipped it on there. So if you need to get all that transducer wire loose, you just undo that and stretch the wire to the stern of your boat. Now you can use your fish finder on anything you got. So that's a really neat rig right there. And you don't have holes punched all in your boat everywhere. You don't have to worry about what I'm going to do with my battery. You know, any kind of mess like that. So, where we at now? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So, what I've done with that little setup right there is I created a little bit of a problem. My anchor trolley ain't gonna work so good. You know, I got it on this side, so I stuck it over there and like, what the heck am I gonna do? Well, everybody said, well, you can just stick it over on that side. Well, I don't want it on that side, because I fish off of that side. So I come up with a solution for that. I just put a shorter anchor trolley on there. I said, well, man, you got a bunch more holes in your boat to do that. Not me yet. So, just take that anchor trolley off, get rid of that one. Don't need that one anymore. And I rig a short anchor trolley. And what I do is I clip it in over here, fumble around with it like so. And since I was smart enough to put me a cleat up here on the bow, now I've got an attachment point with this little doodad right here to attach this short anchor trolley. So what we do, put that carabiner in there like so. Put that around like so. That's about right. Flip it in place. A little tension on it. Since we got this thing mounted with these little T-bolts up here, slide it forward, tighten it down. Now I got a short anchor trolley. You want a short anchor trolley on the other side of your kayak? There you go, right there. And then you can rig it like that. If you're casting off this side, that still keeps everything clear for you. I can promise you this: if you rig a full-length anchor trolley on one side of your kayak and a half anchor trolley on the other side, you can position yourself on absolutely everything you want to fish on. Because you'll get out there sometimes if you don't have a setup like this, and man, the wind will catch your kayak and then it'll kick you around, and you're trying to throw the fish back there like this. You got an anchor trolley on there, you know, you just spin your boat around. You just pull it, and it'll swing your boat, and you'll be able to position. All it takes is a little common sense. Don't take a lot, even just a little bit. That's all you got to have. And all of that works pretty good. Got all this space back here in the tank well. What we going to do with that, right? Well, need a spot to put your fish when you catch them. If you want to bring them to the house, so you bring an ice chest along with you. If you're fortunate enough like me to have a big old anchor trolley, a big old tank well like this, slap your ice chest in. Well, the way I look at an ice chest is, hey man, that's just more room for putting junk. So I took me a couple rod holders and put them on the side of them. Some guys, they'll just take rod holders and put them on one side. Well, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna put them on both sides. So I did that. That worked pretty well. I got a through bolt through there. This ice chest right here, you go out there and catch a lemon speckled trout, it's gonna hold it. I promise. Unless you get out there into a boatload of 30-some inch fish, it's going to hold it. If you're out there in a boatload of 30-some inch fish and you can't get every one of them in here, all I say is congratulations to you and bring you a stringer. I mean, you know, and you say, well, I might catch all speckled trout, and I might catch 50 white trout, and I might catch my 3 redfish. Man, bring your stringer. I don't know what else to tell you. You can get them in here, though. I promise you that. You can get your keepers in that bad boy. And I just put that in here in the back of the tank well. Mbkfa Kayak don't flip over with all this thing going on. I got a couple little handy dandy straps that was strategically placed. And just put that right in there, and there it is. It ain't going nowhere. You got extra rod storage if you want it. I've got that camera mount pole that he's got over there. Got a place to put it for him. I can put it in there, throw my GoPro on top of it, and get a nice over shoulder shot. Film myself catching that big trophy fish. You can stick nets in it, motor rods, you name it, tools. You can find a use for it. Ain't no sense. It don't weigh a whole lot, so why not put it on there? With this setup right here, I still got enough room to put a 4-gallon Frobel live bait well. I do a lot of live bait fishing during the spring and the fall. And people say, well, we can go live bait fishing and go and take shrimp. You use a shrimp for speckled trout, man, that's cheap. Now, I like to go catch it. Some folks like to go fishing, I like to go catch it. And if I want to go fishing, I'll leave all the live bait alone. But I'll take me that live bait rig, and I'll put that little 4-gallon thing in here. I've still got room. This is a huge tank well. I can stick 5 3700 size series plain little tackle boxes in around that rig inside that tank well. It's got a massive tank well on the back of this boat, so you got tons of storage. When I don't go that route, I use a crate. You get on these forums and you look around and you see all these guys got these milk crates rigged out, and you're like, man, where do they get the milk crate? And they run by a liquor store somewhere and pick up the first one they saw. And I didn't get mine from behind a liquor store. I got it from behind a Walgreens. But anyway, so you can rig these things out 6 ways to Sunday. I've got this in, I look at it as more real estate, so I stuck a couple rod holders on the suit. I mean, you can't have enough rod holders. This thing here will hold 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it'll hold 5 or 6 3700 series tackle boxes. You rig it right. You put your handy dandy sprays in there. Scents, pliers, can't go wrong with that. Bow grips, you might want to weigh that puppy, or just want to have something expensive that looks cool on the boat. And it'll fit right here in the tank well, like so. And now we got a kayak fishing machine right here between all of it. Everything rigged up, ready to rock and roll. And there, like so. People ask me what I use for scupper plugs. You can buy scupper plugs from Bass Pro Shops, Academy, Fairhope Boat Company, any of those places. You can go to Walmart and you can buy you a pack of these Callaway practice golf balls, and these scupper holes that are in here, you can just shove it down in the scupper hole. There you go. You got a pack of 12 you can use then. What else we got? Oh, yeah. This ice chest right here. I mentioned I was going off to do some offshore fishing, which I haven't done any of, so I can't fully say anything. But there's a guy that does a lot of offshore fishing in our club, and he had a rig where he took an ice chest just like this, and it's multi-purpose. You can make a live well out of this ice chest for those big baits. You know, if you're out there and you're king mackerel fishing and you got that big, whatever you call them, LYs or storm, whatever y'all use, whatever you offshore guys use. Okay, well, that little 4-gallon bucket probably ain't going to get it for you. This would probably be a better option for you right here. And you can just make that a live well. All you have to do with it is drop your a real small bilge pump in it and pop you a couple holes in the side. You can just run your hoses over the side or through the scuppers that are in the front tank up here. And you got a whole another live well rigged up. Something cool I did to this ice chest. All of my friends, you go down there to where the kayak pool is and start talking about Damian, they're going to laugh at me because of all the fish I throw overboard, trying to put them in the ice chest. I'm notorious for getting fine fish and going to the ice chest with him and dump. He can tell you. That man right there can tell you about me throwing good fish overboard. And then they just laugh at me. So I fixed them laughing at me and said, "Hi, you're not going to laugh at me anymore." Look in this ice chest, I put me a kickstand by God. So now I got that fish and I want to put him in the ice chest. I put him in the ice chest. Put a lid on him behind, and he's in there. And well, I think that's about it. Any questions? Go for it, man. I think I'm all right. Told you I've been practicing. Come on with it. Yes, sir. Man, I got all kinds of stuff in there.
Your little hand fishing.
What's that now?
What's the name of it?
This thing right here?
No, behind you.
Oh, this anchor trolley.
No, behind.
This thing. Yes, sir. That's the camera mount.
No, back.
Good news. Oh,
The measuring board and the flag.
Man, I got so much stuff everywhere. Hey, look, here's a net. Need a net? This thing? The net? Oh, the net. Net. Okay. All right. You know, this right here. This is another multifunctional weapon of mine. It's made by Frauville. It folds up as short as that right there. Pull it back out. It's got an extension handle on it. And get out there and that crazy flounder that just keeps swimming away from you. You're trying to get him up. Reach out there and get his butt. And so, like I said, I stick with the keeping everything is maximizing everything that I've got on the kayak. This is just another way I've maximized here. Got something that'll pack up compact. Got something I can reach out there and get it with. Stick it in the rod holder right back here. And believe it or not, minus one other rod. This is what I fish tournaments with right there. That's my tournament rig. What you looking at is what I got. This thing right here. State of Alabama, I'm sure a whole lot of other states too, require that you have a 360-degree light on your watercraft. If you're out there floating on an inner tube, you better have a 360-degree light on there if you're out there before sun up or after sun down. This is a cheap little rig right here. Wasn't a whole lot to this. I probably got 20, 25 bucks in it, and most of that money was spent on the light. I just bought me a life jacket light that stays constantly on instead of the strobe light. This pole right here, this is a PVC pole. It's a driveway marker. Picked it up at Home Depot, $2. This right here, I got 2 flags out of this. It's flags that you find at the truck stop, you know, that they use for sticking on logs and stuff. You know, you don't have to have a flag. This is just a safety thing. You'll be out in the marsh. Thing is, when you get this thing and you're out in the marsh, you know, you got a real low profile, and you got that cat coming through there with them 3 225s on the back of his boat, hauling butt, and he don't see. This may save your life right here, because when he rounds the corner of that marsh, he may see this flag. He may not see these rods. He may not see anything else, but he can see this flag. It can save your life. Some guys out there fishing, you know, the last thing, I was that way when I was fishing off the boat. Last thing on my mind was run up on a guy in a kayak 4 miles away from a launch, you know, or for that matter 7 or 8 miles away from a launch. We got some cats that get with it. you know, so it's the last thing on my mind. I know it's the last thing on their mind, is running up on a guy out there in the marsh, you know, and that especially in the marsh, because you're down inside of it, grass and all sticking so high, and you got that guy and he's cutting around that boat, and cruising around, and he comes around that corner, whoop, there you are right there. You know, take you out the heartbeat. The other thing is this color right here, it doesn't really show up that well on the water. It takes a really bright color to show up well on the water. Shows up so-so. We got some out there that don't show up worth a flip, some colors. But it shows out so-so. This flag right here in the daytime, you can see it from a good ways off. You know, and an orange anything sticking up in the air brings caution to anybody that's in a boat, because they don't know if it's a diver. They don't know what it is. They just know that there's something out there somewhere. It could be a wreck or anything. So, you know, there's the light. Thank you, Rob.
Where's your, instead of tying your rope up to the top of it, if you got that thing opened up, and this will save you some money down the line. You get in there and it gets hung underneath something, you got it hung up here on top, well, all you can do is just cut it loose and loosen it. But if you'll take that rope and tie it to the bottom, and then bring the rope up along the side, and then take the smallest tie wrap you can find, and tie wrap it through that thing at the top. If you ever get it hung up, you go up there and you get right over the top of it, and you snatch on it, and that tie wrap breaks, and it turns it upside down, and it comes out from under whatever it hung on. 95% of the time.
And that's exactly what that's for. You know, I didn't talk about these, but this paddle leash here ain't nothing more than a piece of 550 paracord. Got a clip on this end of it, a piece of Velcro on this end of it. Never, ever, ever go anywhere in your kayak with one paddle and not have it thing leashed in. That's a big no-no. Some people, you know, like I said, you just got to use a little common sense about things. But man, I've knocked my paddles overboard, and I've slung them overboard just to get to a fish. You know, but I've always had a paddle leash on. And a paddle leash could be the difference between you getting back home that night, or Coast Guard having to come pick you up 3 days later when they find you in the marsh when you smell like a fish. But that's all that's to a paddle leash, really. Just you know, just a piece of cord, a couple of ways to attach it. I've got a little hook up here on the inside of this thing, and just up there. And the paddle leash is out of the way. A lot of guys will attach the paddle leash over, you know, to their seat or something like that on the side. I don't really like that, especially if you use one of the bulky paddle leashes, because the paddle leash tends to drag in the water a lot when you got it on the side. So, you know, in the summertime when it's hot and sticky and you paddling along and you got you bring that water up on you and it's getting on you, and you know how it is when salt water dries on you, it's just, man, it's a different feeling, you know. And, you know, for comfort level, I keep my paddle leash out in front of me so it never hits the water and it's never dragging over my legs and it just makes me feel weird. But yeah, don't go out without a paddle. And if you're using a pedal boat, you know, if you're out there and you got plenty of money, we bought you one of those pine Adobe's or something like that, bring you a paddle. Because we've got guys that have went forward on that pedal drive, and a lot of them are the Hobies are chain drive, and you break a piece of that sprocket, or you break the chain. You up the creek without a paddle, literally. And bring your paddle. Hey man, if you got a boat like that, you don't want a full-size paddle like this, you go to any of the sports stores and get you one of those little folding paddles. As long as you got something, be able to motor that scooter around. So that's what you need. Any more questions? Yep.
The light has got to be a constant on. It cannot be a stroke.
Cannot be a
By
strain.
law, it's got to be on
That's right.
100% of the time.
Yep.
Sure, you're covered with the sponge at the end too.
What's that?
The sponge.
The sponge? Well, I didn't bring mine up here. Especially if you're using a set-in type kayak, you want to have something like a sponge with you. You want to have the means to get the water out of the way. I bring a sponge with me. It's something I got. It's got like a piece of that, like a shimmy cloth or something over top of it. I bring it out, and I actually I don't use it to sponge water out. I use it to wipe my fish junk on. You know, when after I got my fish and got it landed, you know, need something cleaning the end up with. But yeah, a sponge, you know, that's in the hull of your kayak. You'd be amazed at how much water you get in the hull of a kayak on a rough day. You really would. It's shocking. You think things waterproof, but it ain't. I promise you that. It's water repellent, water resistant. Those hatches are just made to keep water out of them for so long. You know, it doesn't ever hurt. I also keep a small, I don't bring it with me either. I keep a small little bell bucket with me that you can fold a little bit. You know, you squeeze in the sides. This hole here has a tongue hole on it, so it's actually got this V bottom that comes down right through here, and for me to be able to get all that water out, take the sides of that little bucket, squeeze it, and I get right down in it and get all the water.